Episode 8 of the Nancy Drew Show is called The Place of Shadows, and I thought this was a good episode, mainly because of the visuals. I thought it was visually very interesting. The director did a bunch of unique camera angles and a lot of cool looking shots, like George going up the staircase, followed by George going up the staircase in this blue spirit world. That was really trippy. And then the ghost looked really good too. And the spirit world was this blue color, which actually worked fantastically. It actually made the scary ghost look even more scary. I'm just saying, it was good to watch. It just was a feast for the eyes just watching this episode. Very, very well done that way. Story-wise, you could say, maybe it's a little light on story. You could argue against it. So part of the story is Nancy and her dad are confronting each other about his job for the Hudsons. And Carson claims that he was watching Lucy Sable for the Hudsons. So he showed up and he's like, oh my gosh, the girl I'm tailing is dead. What do I do now? I know, I'll steal her bloody dress and hide it in the attic. What? That still sounds like a really suspicious alibi. I didn't really like the Nancy and her dad scenes with them fighting. I've liked it in other episodes, but with this episode, it just felt a little off. I don't know. So that was my least favorite part. But then the rest of the episode I thought was fantastic. So the storyline is that Ace is now in a coma following the car accident, and Chief McGinnis is apparently, you know, we haven't heard this before. In previous episodes, he's just been kind of a gruff cop who doesn't like you. He's like, hey, Drew, get off my case. And even with Ace, he's like, hey, give me the information, Ace. But here in this episode, he's actually shown to have a different side, a softer side. He really cares about Ace. And he's also big into Native American spirituality. So that was something new, too. And I thought that was really interesting to learn more about how Native Americans interact with the spirit world, and they form a spirit circle. See, I liked it more than his stuff with George's mom, because the stuff with George's mom was like inherently violent. She and those possessed coins, they actually go through a list of all the scary ghost stuff that's happened in the series so far, and when you spell it out like one by one by one, it sounds completely ridiculous and over the top. I thought that was hilarious. But the other stuff we've seen with the ghosts has been scary and violent, whereas this spirit world was more of a peaceful place. It definitely was this strange blue color, and you could sense something was off, but I don't know. It was just interesting to have a completely different take on encountering spirits, as opposed to "Rawr, evil nasty spirits coming to attack you all the time." Now, granted, we did have like the restless spirit there, but it wasn't the entire thing. There was also a lot of walking around through Ace's memories. It's sort of like a mixture of the spirit world and Ace's subconscious. And George meets Ace, who sees himself as a little boy, 6-year-old boy, because that was the worst moment of his life, is when his father died, apparently in the snow. So that was also an interesting concept, seeing Ace as a little kid and just being scared, and George having to comfort him. And we found out who the person is who sabotaged the car, because guess what? The car was sabotaged. The culprit hacked the car's self-drive systems, the CPU, in order to crash it. Because Nick was working on the car earlier that day, he had like a complete diagnostic of the car's computer system. So that's how he was able to prove that the car was hacked. Everybody thought it was Elisabet who did it, because she's a driver. And so Bess and Nick sort of try to set her up, get Elisabet to confess. It turns out, totally unexpected confession, Elisabet is actually a secret state police officer. She was sent to investigate the Hudsons. That's why she's working for them as a driver. So I thought that was really interesting. That was a pretty good plot twist. And it was nice to see Bess be a competent detective for once. I did like that. And at the very end of the episode, Nancy and Elisabet get into a fight, and Elisabet punches Nancy out, which is really dramatic. It's later revealed that it was a setup. They planned to have Elisabet punch Nancy out just to convince the Hudsons that Elisabet is, yes, 100% on their side. I wonder where they're going to go with this, though. It feels like Elisabet and Bess are trying to have a secret romance. That's what's going to happen, because they can't let the Hudsons know, because the Hudsons are already suspicious of Nancy Drew and the Clue crew. So I foresee some drama in that sense. Anyway, the culprit was this random police officer who we've mentioned a couple of times in previous episodes, Officer Raleigh. He was the one who sabotaged the car. And we know because he has the matching boots, and he had a fake police report which doesn't match the real computer diagnostics on Nick's computer. So that was another cool shot of he was getting arrested in the background, and Chief McGinnis is like, hey guys, come here. We need to arrest this police officer. Well, Nancy just sort of struts down like, I'm awesome, I'm cool. And that was another thing I liked about the episode, Nancy's attitude. She was very determined to find the truth, and I like determined Nancy who's passionate about solving crimes and justice, as opposed to Nancy who is just totally scared and freaked out by the ghost. It helped that there was no ghost stuff with Nancy. George got all the ghost stuff. It was actually kind of funny, George complaining, oh great, why does it have to be me? So, overall, a really good episode, one of my favorites. I'd say I rate it pretty much, my favorite episode was that scavenger hunt episode. This could be my second or third favorite. I don't know what other one I like, more than this, but those are my top two favorite episodes so far, I would say. And interestingly enough, they were both written by the same person. The scavenger hunt episode was co-written by somebody else, but I like the two episodes that were written by this author, someone named Jesse. So I've got a new favorite writer for the show. Their two episodes were my top two favorite episodes so far. Yeah, I would go so far to say, yeah, this is definitely in my top three favorite episodes. There are 8 episodes. It's strange because they say next week is the mid-season finale. So, episode 9 is mid-season, but I thought there were 22 episodes. So, 9 is not halfway through the season. I guess if you add a week, because they took the week off for Thanksgiving, I wonder what mid-season finale means, though. It probably means they're just doing sweeps week, but, I don't know, maybe they'll take a break for a month before continuing with new episodes. Maybe that's also what it means. I don't know. I don't watch TV that much. I'm sorry. Mostly just this show. And, yeah. This was a good episode. Overall, I liked it. I liked everything. It was fun to watch. The only parts I didn't really like were Nancy and her father. Just the opening scene of Nancy and her father fighting, I did not like. Nancy and her father towards the end, that worked better. I liked that better. So, that's everything. Thanks for watching.